Ciao, sono Ginger Costa Jackson e io sono qui con Eclectic Arts Media.
Proud of it. On to the next thing.
They expect like 1 million people.
There's so much music, like just the second half, it's just about twice as thick as the first half.
The better the player, the less they're uptight.
Yeah, it's nice to keep it fresh, otherwise it gets stale.
Oh yeah, I do speak.
Very sad. Sad I can't have both.
That is a fabulous question.
And then I didn't step foot in the studio ever again.
I still have degrees, I swear.
And you're watching Eclectic Arts Media.
Wouldn't want to get you in trouble with Skylar. What the?
Well, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I'm Mark Sugiyama from Eclectic Arts Media, based here in Seattle, Washington. And thank you so much for joining me on this Monday, the 13th of November, 2023. And just a few quick things. I'd like to thank Andreka and Sarah from The Night Cry for joining me last Thursday. And also I would like to thank Bree Darling for joining me last Tuesday. It's been great starting off November with 2 live streams, and obviously this is the third one for November. So coming up, I do have a few that hopefully will get on the schedule this month. With the holiday next week, it's getting a little tricky, but if things go the way I'm anticipating, I should have one next week, and then also one or maybe 2 after the holiday here in the US. And if you'd like to know more about when those are specifically actually set and confirmed, please follow me as Eclectic Arts Media, one word, on Instagram. That's where I post everything first. And then some of that information migrates over to other social media platforms. If this is your first time joining me on my YouTube channel, if you do me a huge favor, and please hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell. And if you're on the Twitch side of things, if you could follow me over there, that would be great. I'm noticing that I'm starting to get more followers on Twitch, which is where I first started doing all this virtual work a little over 3 years ago. So yeah, happy Monday to everybody out there. For me, this is my Friday, so I guess happy Friday to me. I just got confirmed that I will be covering a concert tomorrow in person, and as well on Wednesday. So I got a lot of preparation I have to do at some point. Well, I guess before tomorrow night. But I'm so glad for having you join me. If this is your first time and you want to ask my guest or any guests in the future a question or comment, you can just subscribe to the YouTube channel, or if you follow me on Twitch, you should have instant access to the live chat. Please be aware that my guests do not see what you're writing or typing. So if you say how much I love you, they're not going to know unless I tell them or if I put it on screen. So I'm the one who sees all those things, and I will try to incorporate your questions as the conversation goes along. So if we're in the middle of talking about something, I haven't missed your question. It's just I'm kind of waiting for a good time to fold it into the conversation. So, okay, my guest today is a woman of many talents. She has served in the U.S. Armed Forces. She has also ample experience as a hairstylist. In recent times, she has developed a rabid following of fans through her work as a cam model and content creator. She's now taking on the world of adult entertainment. Please welcome to the Eclectic Arts Media virtual studio, the Bush Queen, LEAH MICHELLE. Hi, LEAH.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing really good. Thank you so much for taking the time tonight. I appreciate it.
I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. So, and I have to tell you this, which I didn't tell you pre-show, is that I love the fact that you were early.
Oh, thank you. I do my best.
Yeah, no, I trust me. I when it starts getting to that time, I start like, are they coming or what's going on? I start checking my emails, for publicists and see if something happened. But no, you're there, ready to go. So yeah, no, that makes me go, ooh, all right, we're ready to do this thing.
Good. I'm glad that I was on time and early.
I have a random mind, so you'll kind of find that out as we do this interview. Is that something that you kind of do most of your life? Has you always been like on time or early just with everything you do, or kind of developed it?
No, not at all. I am usually always rushing. But I have to like tell myself I have to be ready at a certain time. So like you said 9, but I'm like, okay, 8:30, and then usually I'm on time. That I become on time. So.
Okay. So you're anticipating then?
Oh, I'm always going to be late, so I just have to make sure that I tell myself earlier than usual.
that works. I'm no different. Like I am not a morning person at all, and so my clocks are set like about 10 minutes ahead, just in general around my house. So that way, like, oh, I'm 10 minutes late. It's like, oh, actually, I'm on time.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a morning person either. Yeah, it's hard to get up, but you know, we make it. So
Yeah, you do what you have to do.
yes.
Yeah, so let's kind of start with like the most recent things, and we'll kind of jump around through your timeline. So you were mentioning to me that you just did your first trade convention, Exotica. And so how did that go for you?
It was good. I signed at Erotic Skies magazine, their booth, and then I also signed a little bit at Alterotic's booth. I shot a couple scenes there. I met a couple fans. It was an experience. It was overwhelming, but I'm happy that I got my first one down because I'm gonna do another one in like 3 weeks now. So
Okay, and did or maybe you already knew, do you have like a bunch of 8x10s and things with you? Do the booths themselves already have promotional material for you to sign for fans?
So some of the booths, it just varies, but I bought my own stuff too. So I had some merch there. I had some stuff that I was able to sign. I had some stuff that I was able to sell. I had some banners there that was nice of them to bring and create for me. And so the next booth I go to, they'll have like even more merch, and then I'll bring even more of my own stuff. So I think it's just a collection of like the booths bringing stuff and me bringing stuff that I want to sell of my own. So
okay, that's cool. I know I was talking to a guest. This is like maybe 2012 at a local convention here, and it was her first time ever appearing at one. And the people in her circle, I told her to only bring like 2 photos and not to like shake hands and hug fans and stuff like that. And she was like, but that's not me. So she said that lasted all like 2 minutes when she started meeting people. And then she kind of saw all the other tables that had, lots of stuff from fans to buy and that kind of thing. She's like, well, damn, who told me not to bring stuff?
yeah, I should have brought more. I was a little nervous about bringing stuff because I wasn't sure if people were going to actually want it. And then, people were asking for stuff and asking for pictures, and it was just really cool. So, yeah.
Cool. That's got to be. It reminds me of like I'm an old fart, so I can remember back like in the chat days in like the late '90s, and so you might be talking to somebody online, and then you maybe have a chance to actually meet them in person. And it was such a weird thing because you may have had conversations and you kind of details about each other, but you actually hadn't been in the same space physically. Yeah. So that kind of the same deal when you meet people, fans at conventions.
Yeah, I think this is like the first time, so I think I was more like, I think me and the fans were like, hi, like I was kind of like surprised to see people who knew who I was, and I think they were surprised to see me, and it was kind of this awkward, like, oh, you want a picture, or oh, okay, let's. So I kind of felt like a little like a fan of my fans, so that was kind of fun, yeah.
Okay. No, I bet the fans appreciated that, that you're just having a genuine, organic, reaction to meeting folks. It wasn't like, you're trying to put on airs or trying to, come across a certain way. So like, oh, hey, you know me, and yeah, we're here. What do you want to do?
It's just, I'm very new in my career. It's just really interesting and honestly, it's like weird, but like in a good way, where it's like, oh, you know who I am, and you like my work, and that's just, I don't know at what point if that ever goes away, but it's just kind of interesting and awesome at the same time.
I could understand. I think especially with social media too, because people can be seeing like everything that you post, and I mentioned to you pre-show that I'd worked as a model photographer, and I had a model one time that was talking to me about the backgrounds in terms of locations I had used, and she must have looked through like every picture in my portfolio on my website. And on one hand, it was like really not kind of flattering. On the other hand, it was kind of creepy.
Yeah.
How much time did you spend looking at this thing?
Yeah. I do think that I forget that like the internet has like there's a bunch of eyes on it, so I forget what I post, or I forget what mood I was in when I posted something. And I consider myself like art, so I am a piece of artwork on the internet, and then I'm a human, obviously in real life. So those two things like aren't the same person. Like, so I forget sometimes when I'm in person meeting people that they see the art side of me most of the time.
Okay, yeah, I think that makes sense because you're a brand, and that's what you're building. That's what you're building. And I know even for myself, sometimes I forget about all the different things that are out there. And even like tomorrow, I'll be at a concert. So there could be somebody there saying, "Hey, Mark, I saw that you're doing this," or "I saw the interview that you did last night." And I'll be like, "Oh, cool." It's like, all right, I kind of forget like how far reaching this thing goes.
Yes, same.
I had one fan at a show that was probably like a year ago. He started asking me all kinds of questions about an interview, a live stream I had done, and I'm kind of like, whoa, who are you again? Again, I appreciate that you're following me and all that kind of stuff, but it just took me a little while to kind of get comfortable with that whole fact that he like knew every little thing that we had said during this conversation for like an hour. And I'm like, I didn't know people watched that intently.
I won't even remember what I said 5 minutes ago. So it's like crazy that people like will remember, you know, certain things or bring up something. And I can't imagine, like, you know, I've only been doing adult entertainment for, well, in this, like as big as it is now, like for maybe a year and a half. I can't even imagine, like, you know, in 2 years or 3 years, like somebody coming back to saying, you know, I remember that interview you did with, I'm not going to remember.
Yeah, I think that's natural, and you're right. There's going to be, you know, the longer you're in the industry and the more fans you get and everything else, they're going to be. And someone says, "Hey, I met you when you're just starting out," and you're like, "Oh, that's great. I really appreciate it." And then it's like, do you remember me? It's like, come on, I can't remember everybody.
No, I don't even remember. I'll have the client come and say like, "Oh, you did my hair 3 years ago. Didn't you do it like just like you did it 3 years ago?" And I'm like, I don't remember you at all. So yes.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's nothing personal. I just don't remember.
No, I don't.
I have this weird situation for myself. So a long time ago, back when I had hair, I used to be a teacher. So every now and then, out of the blue, someone might say, "Hey, Mr. Sugiyama, is that you?" And I'm kind of like, okay, no one calls me that unless they were a student or something. And they could have been like 12 when I had them, and now they're a full-grown adult. It might be like, you know, 35 or 40. And I'm like, I don't know who you are. And you can see that they're a little hurt by that. I'm like, again, it's nothing personal, but I've had a bunch of different faces come through my life, and besides just from the teaching world and everything else. So can you give me a hint? Can you kind of help remind me?
Yeah. Yes, I don't remember. I know exactly how you feel because I'm just like, hi.
Yeah, and they can usually kind of tell that look on the face of kind of like, I'm trying to remember who you are, but I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's kind of go back through some of your earlier work that you. So how long have you been working as a cam model? Let's kind of start there.
So I actually started working as a cam model like in 2012, I think. Yes. And I did that for a couple of months. And then I stopped, and then I took a really long break. I just modeled, honestly, for a really long time. Did a bunch of other things, and then now I'm actually tonight. This is the first time I'm gonna get back on cam, like an actual cam site. Since 2013. So.
Oh wow. Okay. Was this like a deliberate decision then to get back on cam? You know, now.
Yeah. I started doing live on OnlyFans about a month ago, and it's been really nice. And I like it. So we're gonna extend that to Chatterbait tonight. So we're gonna do one Chatterbait, one OnlyFans, and see how it goes. So I'm excited. I'm nervous. It's a you know, camming is a different kind of beast in itself. So, but it should be fun.
Okay. So yeah, geez, I'm just trying to do the math in my head. So it's been almost like 11 years then.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you anticipate maybe some fans from back then in 2012 coming into one of them tonight? You know,
no, I don't. I think that I'm a different person. Obviously, I have a different look. I bring a different fan base. The only regret that I have is I really wish that I had kept. I don't know what happened to my old account. I don't know if it just kind of got like completely disabled or whatever. But I had like 4,000, 5,000 followers on my original cam, and I wish that I still had that. And I had to start all over. So now I have less than 200 followers. So.
Oh, okay. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, based on what I've been looking at from the social media side, you've built up a whole following anyway. So it's kind of like, I think some of them are going to move over and definitely be checking things out tonight. At least I hope so.
I anticipate if I keep a consistent that I will just get those 4,000 or 5,000 followers back by March. Is kind of what I'm hoping. And then it'll be, I mean, I've had several social medias kind of like get disabled or banned, and I would go, oh man, like that sucks. I built 10,000, 15,000 followers, and now that just my name is out there, if it happens, I won't be so hurt. I think that it would, like, I'll grow it back in a fraction of the time that it took me the first time. So I'm okay.
Okay. It's so unfortunate that folks that work in any level of the adult industry, especially when it comes to like certain social media platforms, where they have to have like 3 other backup accounts because they know they've been zinged so many times. You violated our community guidelines, and now you're in blankly blank jail for X amount of time. So then you have to go to the other one, and then you wait for that one to come back. And I understand why some of them are just like, this is just bullshit, and just they kind of get tired of it. But they also, it's a necessary evil too, though.
It really is. I am looking into having someone else run some social medias for me, just because of that. And it's taking a lot of time away from like my family, and the goal is always to like, spend more time, with myself and doing doing the things that I love my job, but content creation, as you know, can like take up a lot of your time. So I'm learning how to delegate and give some of this to other people so I can actually enjoy, this life that I'm creating. So, it's social media. So.
That sounds like a really good plan, to have somebody help out so that you deal with this over here, please, so that I've got too many other, moving parts over here that I want to, and like you said, you want to actually enjoy what you do, not go like, man, this is such a drag.
Yeah. I just want to create the content, create the art, and have other people put it where it's supposed to go. Do my live shows, meet my fans, and spend the other time, walking my dog or whatever.
Okay, so you were working as a cam model many years ago, and then so when did you start moving into doing with like professional companies and doing adult work that you're doing now?
So I feel like everybody kind of. This happened with a lot of people. COVID happened, and I thought that hair, beauty has always been explained to me as like recession proof. It's like, it's one of the industries that like will never, you'll always be able to make money. And then when I couldn't, I was like, wow, I thought I was getting myself into this industry, and now I don't have money. So I decided to put some of my modeling pictures on OnlyFans. And it helped me, get some groceries, which was nice. And then I had a photographer that was kind of in the industry, in the adult industry. So I asked him like, what, how do I get in here? And I did my first shoot, and it was horrible. Thankfully it was a solo shoot. And I was like, I don't really know if I want to do this. This is kind of gross, and I didn't feel sexy at all. And then I said, well, if I do decide to get into it, I'm going to, I have to find the perfect like company to go to start. Like, I want to be able to be comfortable, and I want to know that this is going to be something that I feel good about. And then in the meantime, I started getting myself together. I got my boobs done. And this was not for that reason. This was just all these self-confidence things that I wanted to do for myself. I started working out a lot. I like increase my finances somehow, whatever. I think I moved back in with my mom and tried to save some money. So when the opportunity came to travel to go to a company, which was Royal Fetish, I took it, and they made me feel really comfortable and really good. And I knew that if this was a good shoot, then I would continue to, I wanted to try again. And so I went with the thought of like, I'm just going to try, I'm going to see how I like it. And we'll see how it goes. And it was great. And then once I kind of started like realizing that I didn't want to do hair full time, I needed to transition. I really liked being behind the camera. It just kind of went from there.
Okay, so it's one. I'm sorry to hear that you had a bad first experience. because that means then, yeah, it could have been that was a one and done. You could just, fuck this, I'm not going to do this at all. But you said, no, I'm going to give it another shot and find the right company. And it sounds like you found them. And so it says, okay, yeah, I just have to find the right people, the right companies to work with, and I can kind of get what I want instead of this, other stuff over here that unfortunately almost every industry has: music, film, everything. There's going to be things that are just a bunch of creeps and things that don't work out, and other ones that there's golden that you can't get enough of. So, wow. So what? And I laugh a little bit about this. A lot of times when, like when your publicist sends a trailer for a clip, there might be maybe like a 15 to 20 second buildup, and then the sex happens. And the one she sent, I'm like, oh, I don't know if there's anything I can use in this. So the clip from Brazzers, that's why it was like only like 3 seconds in my video intro. I'm like, okay, there's a part that I can use.
Gotcha. I was like, okay, that's interesting, but okay.
Yeah, because I'm like, well, I could just have some pictures, still pictures go by or something. And I say, well, no, your publicist sent that over, so I need to put something up. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that just goes right to the action.
Yeah.
But how was that scene shooting for Brazzers?
It was great. It happened so fast. I was out in LA like the week before, and I was getting ready to fly back to Virginia, and they were like, hey, we want to shoot you like next weekend. And I was like, shit. But I was like, I'm coming. So it was great. They were awesome, very professional. My co-stars were great. I love the fact that they made the scene all around my bush, which was wild to me. I didn't even expect that at all. I felt really pretty. So it was great. Everything was great.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, and yeah, you are. I mean, I think even the title of the scene is about your bush. So it's like you're front and center.
Yeah, it's all about the bush. So it's crazy.
So that's actually a good segue. So being the Bush Queen, when did you come up with that title for yourself?
I did not. Another porn star kind of started calling me that. And then I kind of went with it, and now we're here. It was not intentional. However, I love it. It gives me I think it gives me the opportunity to kind of focus on me instead of like actual sex acts, which I mean I do sex for work, so it's great. But I think that it gives me the opportunity, because I am on the East Coast, and it's very hard for me sometimes to get to the places that does the porn. So this way I can do a lot of content here focused on my bush, and that's my thing. And then when I do have the opportunity to shoot scenes, with other people, it's I can kind of, I don't have to do it as often, if that makes any sense, because I have this big bush that I can capitalize off of here. So
yeah, no, it makes sense, because you already have established that, really. And then as these companies are coming along, they can just kind of yeah, this is what you're kind of known for already. So yeah, they can utilize it and focus in on it if they want. They can choose not to, just have you more as a someone else that's on set doing a scene kind of a thing. But it's already there. And I'm trying to think about others, like some of the other stars that I've interviewed. I don't know if any of them have a tagline like that. And that's great, because that is branding.
Yeah.
So someone thinks of LEAH MICHELLE and they think the Bush Queen is perfect. I mean, it goes together.
Yeah, I've often thought about just dropping the LEAH MICHELLE, but all of my content has it right now. But it wasn't planned. Somebody just started calling me that, and then I just kind of jokingly put it on my Twitter. It was LEAH MICHELLE, the Bush Queen, so funny, right? And then people started calling me that, and I was like, oh, I guess it's gonna have to stay. So yeah.
Well, at least it's something that is true. It's not like they came up with some tagline and it's well, that's not what I have, or that's not part of my body, or the way I am. It's well, no, I have a big bush, so I am the Bush Queen.
Yeah, right. And it's great, because now I don't have to shave.
There's another plus.
I'm so happy. I'm well, I don't have to shave. So it's great.
I'm just kind of curious, again, with my photography background, that with you having a skill set with hair, do you tend to always have your hair done before you get to set? You don't need a hairstylist there, before you shoot scenes, kind of thing, or does it just kind of depend?
So Well, the only time I've ever had my hair done on set was actually at Brazzers, which kind of blew my mind because I usually wear my hair natural curly. Um, it's just easier. But it's kind. If I were going to do if I was going to do something different, I would just either have it done here, here, and have someone do it for me. I don't really do my own hair because I'm so busy doing other people's hair. But yeah, I've only had my hair done once on set.
Okay, and kind of along the same lines, I'm assuming if with Brazzers and maybe some other companies too, did they have a makeup artist do your makeup?
Mm-hmm.
And so this brings up this thing that I've talked with some other folks in the adult entertainment industry. Some of them that have a skill set in doing their own makeup, like they could actually be like bona fide makeup artists themselves. They have to kind of almost select who works on them, especially if they're a person of color, because some makeup artists just don't get it. They don't understand. I'm not a white face. I am a different face. So you need to work different things. Have you encountered that?
Not yet. I would say more often than not, I'm doing my own makeup. I do love to get my makeup done because I feel like I always do the same thing and I want to look different. And it's just nice. So, but I haven't encountered anybody doing it where I'm like, I don't really like that. So, but I'm sure it may happen. But no.
Okay, well, it sounds like it's okay right now then. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been very happy. I've had my makeup done probably 2 times, I think, since I've been doing like scenes on set. I've had my makeup done a couple of times for like photo shoots, but like I said, most of the time like I'm just doing it myself. And I mean, technically I used to be a makeup artist and I still am. I do makeup for photo shoots as well, so it is what it is.
Okay, well, it's nice though that you have that skill set in your bag of tricks. So like you kind of know when someone isn't up to snuff with what they're doing.
Yeah.
And again, hopefully you don't encounter those people, but just in case you do, because some people don't, they don't know like how their makeup should look. They only know this doesn't look very good.
Right.
Versus you would know the technical parts of it, and same with hair. It's kind of like, wait a minute, what happened here? I don't want to go on scene looking like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So no, that's, again, you've got a lot of pluses in your background. So that's great. It's gonna help you in the industry for sure.
Oh, we will hopefully, yes. I'm hoping.
And of course you have a lot of ink on you, which is really cool. I'm just curious, what was the first piece that you ever got?
I got a travel butterfly on my hip, my left hip, was the first one I got. And then I don't remember from there on. I just started getting more and more, and now we're here.
Now, do you have I'm sure you love all your pieces, but is there any one particular one that really has special either meaning or just kind of stands out to you?
I think that I have the sun and the moon on my elbow, which is for my grandmother. So I think that's probably my most meaningful one. But people always ask like, "What's your favorite one?" It's always the latest, like the newest one. Is always the favorite. So.
Okay, I only have a few pieces on me, and they're pretty old at this point. I was like, if I had more money.
It's like I don't buy a whole lot of like things. It's like tattoos are probably the things that I collect more than anything. So.
Well, and it makes sense because, like you mentioned, that you approach everything as an artist. So your body's art, and the tattoos absolutely are art that's on you.
Yeah.
And do you have any one particular artist that's worked on you a lot?
I have an artist here that I go to a lot. His name is Scott. So when I'm at home, I go to him like religiously. Like he's the one that I go to. And but when I was in North Carolina for a while, I had an artist that I would go to there, and he's done a lot of my work. He's done most of my sleeve. And my ex used to do tattoos, so he's done a couple of them. So.
Okay. Now, is that anything like down the road that you would ever want to dabble in yourself as a tattoo artist?
No, I can't draw a stick figure. I am not doing that. No, thank you.
See, that's something you and I have in common. I talk about this every now and then. I don't know if you remember the game Pictionary, where you have to draw certain things from cards. Well, I was the person that no one wanted on their team because they couldn't figure out what the hell I was drawing. It was like,
I'm not drawing anything. I can't draw. Don't ask me to. It's crazy because I like color. I like shadows. I like light. I like pigment. I like all that stuff. But like it's drawing like a detailed something or other. No. I take a lot of my own pictures and I paint, but I'm not drawing anything. No, thank you.
okay. Well, so everybody out there, make sure that don't ask Leah to draw something.
No, don't.
Yeah, when you see her at the next convention, like I think it's in DC, yeah, don't go up to her booth and say, "Hey, can you draw this for me?" and then sign it. Yeah, that would be like if somebody asked me to draw something, because yeah, I mean, I'll do it just to be kind of a ding dong, but you won't be able to tell what the hell I drew.
Nope, not at all. Not at all.
How long did it take to do your throat piece here?
Oh man, I don't know how long. I can't even remember. It took me I will say it took me a while to get it. I've always wanted one, and I don't know why I can't. I guess because like it's a big commitment, you know, it's your throat. So I needed to know that I was in a space where I felt confident enough that I was going to be financially secure, and also just, you know, mentally, you know, where I needed to be to get it. I wanted to get something that was not super harsh, because your throat can look really hard, I think, really easily. And I wanted it to be soft. So I worked with a guy that does my tattoos in town, and we came up with something. And we did it, and I loved it. So
yeah, it's a beautiful piece.
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're spot on with, see, this is a thing, like for people that don't have ink on them, you really need to think things through, not only about, you know, what part of your body, but then like what Leah just said, if it's going to be on your throat, you know, many of those come across very like you know, yeah, like you're going to try to kill somebody kind of a thing. That's why you got it on your throat. And if that's not what you're going for, you need to figure out some kind of design that's going to really reflect what you want.
Yeah. Even like the thickness of the lines, because like this could have easily been like a lot thicker, you know. We talked about it for a while, me and Scott. I think maybe even like 2 years. Like I want to get my throat done. I got my face tattooed twice before I got my throat done. So I really was like, I needed to be soft. I needed the lines to be curvy, not pointy. Like just all the things that that I wanted. But I really wanted to get my throat done. I'm thinking about getting under my chin done next, but we'll see.
Okay, well, I love the fact that you put so much intention into, you know, the tattoos, and it really kind of sounds like everything that you do. It's very thought out. I don't think there's too much that's kind of, you know, thrown to the wind. At least it doesn't seem like it.
I think I do throw a lot of stuff out there, but I think I intentionally do that so that I can learn stuff. You know, I think that my intention behind a lot is just kind of like, fuck it, like let's try. Like I think about it, but it's like I want to try it. Let me do it so that way I can figure out how to do it right, or if I want to do it again. I have a tattoo on me that says "cautious as the wind," so I'm a little like, I am really adventurous, but I think that that's all done intentionally, though. So
okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. It sounds like you're in some ways almost always looking to challenge yourself too. Then. All right, and
I've done so many things.
well, and for me, I mean, I've been looking at some of your recent social media posts. You work out a lot, it seems.
I do.
Okay, and so are you working out 4 times a week? What's your routine or your regimen like?
I try to do 6 times a week. It's more like 5, I think. Even if I just do something where I move my body, I will consider that like a workout. Like, you know, if I take a walk or something, I'm trying to not get so much into like I have to go to the gym, because I used to just go to the gym like 7 days a week. So I'm trying to like just remind myself, like, as long as I like eat right most of the time and like I move my body, that I'm okay. But I like to lift, so.
Okay, well, I have a feeling that for other folks that are following what you do, I think you're inspiring people by posting those workouts.
hopefully great. That's what that is. It's so interesting because I feel like when people tell me that I am inspiring, I'm not. I don't. It's hard for me to be like, yeah, I am. Because like I do all the things that I do because I'm trying to keep myself, I'm trying to keep myself motivated and positive. So I guess because I'm sharing that and that's what I do for myself, it's helpful to other people. But it's just so interesting for me to hear people say that that's inspiring to them, or what I do is inspiring.
Well, and I think some of it is that, especially if you're sharing any kind of trials and tribulations you've had in your past, then other people that are also going through those, they can either relate to that, and they've also seen how you've overcome it, what you're doing, in recent times. I've had many conversations on here about some of the things that were in my past and what I had to kind of do to get past it. And to me, it's just like, well, it's part of my life, and this is why I'm sharing it. I'm not looking for anything else beyond that. But then someone can DM me about like, I'm so appreciative of what you said because blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, well, that's wonderful. I'm glad I helped you, but that wasn't why I said it.
Right. I have to remind myself. I know Erica was like, can you just like shh for a second sometimes? And I'm like, yeah. So I'm trying to learn how to like not like use my social media as like my own punching bag. I'm trying to change that around and be a little bit more motivational, shorter and like more positive, but still share the story. So that's something that I'm working on, instead of like venting and telling people how hard life is and how life sucks and like you can do it, like because full circle. It's more like just the motivational stuff. Like I've been there. I know how you feel. We can get through it. It's hard when you sometimes don't feel like very positive for in general. So it's a balance.
Yeah. See, and that's the key word, balance, for sure. Because you're human, and you're gonna have those days when you're like, this fucking day, can just kiss my ass, and you want to let everybody know about it too. But the thing is that, at least for me, from my side, is that people can relate to that. Now, if that's all you post, nothing negativity, that's totally different. But it's like every now and then, it's like, no, everyone gets upset about. I know I do, and people are saying, Mark, you get upset, you get angry. I'm like, of course I do.
Yep, I get it all the time. I have women that are just like, you're so positive, and I'm just like, or like they'll say something to me, I'm like, I like barely wanted to get out of the bed this morning, or whatever the case may be. And it's just like I have to remind people to like, that like I've either been where you are or I am still where you are, and like you just have to keep telling yourself like, life ebbs and flows. Like you're gonna have good days, you're gonna have bad days, and as long as you can accept that, like I think that things get a little bit more smooth in general. So
yeah, no, I agree, and I think there's definitely something to be said for when you're presenting your authentic self, because people can pick up on that, and also they can pick up on when you're trying to front and you're not being authentic. Kind of like, what, all I see is like, Miss Sunshine every day. It's like, I know that can't be reality, and it's not for anybody. So there's, like you said, it just has to be a balance of things, at least again from my perspective.
For sure, I think so. It's hard when you have like a brand that you're trying to like, you think about like celebrities who like kind of have a brand, and you never hear, you might hear, say, Beyonce like talk about like her struggles in motherhood, but like the way she presents it is still on brand. So that's something that I'm trying to learn, is like I can still share my story, but if it's as long as it's on brand, it can still be authentic. But like, I have to remember that is a transition that I'm getting into at this point. So that's the hard part, I think.
Yeah, okay, that's a really interesting point, because you have to kind of figure out how to finesse it. So if someone told me to do that, that would be tough.
It's tough because sometimes you're alone, and your friends are all on Twitter, and you want to be like something, fuck this or whatever. Can I say that? Sorry.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. You want to like vent because you feel like you just need to get it out, and sometimes the journal isn't your thing because you don't like to write. Sometimes reading isn't a thing because you sometimes just need to like just say what you feel, however you get it out. But remembering that like I said, I'm a brand now. It's just a little bit different. The presentation has to be a little bit different and more thought out than just blurting it out. And and expressing yourself that way. So I'll get there, but you know.
Yeah, no, I'm sure you'll get there. It's things that I have to remind myself. I try to do like the 10-second rule before I post something on social media. And that's kind of helps me, because there's definitely some times when I'm like, I'm ready just to rip someone a new one. And I'm like, this isn't going to help anybody, at least the way I'm doing it. I got to figure out, I had a day that didn't really go my way. And this is what I learned from it. And this is what I'm going to try to use moving forward, because that stays within my brand. Instead of me just being like, man, fuck that person.
Yep. I've done like what I call like the window shopping of social media. It's like I will like write it out, and then I'll put it in a draft, and then I'll delete it, or I'll change it, or I'll go back and be like, okay, that was dumb. I've noticed I started doing this because I was tweeting a lot, and then I realized that none of my tweets went through. They all went through to drafts, and when I went to drafts, I was like, what were you even trying to say? This is, you sound. And I was like, oh, this is a good way for me to be like, all right, I'm not going to post this. I'm going to type it out, but I'm going to put it in a draft, or I'm going to type it out and like put the phone down and then walk away from the phone and then go back to the phone and just go, never mind, delete it. So that's been helpful too.
Yeah. So we share that in common.
Yeah, it's been helpful,
yeah,
it's been really helpful. So yeah.
It's kept me out of trouble.
Yeah, me too, a little bit. Erica was like, gave me a little talking to the other day, and I was like, okay, Mom, I'll take
And before we wrap this up, so what with you're working with like browsers, and you got some other adult companies you're working with, and there'll be that many more. What do you, at least for the next, I don't know, let's say the next year, what are you looking for from that part of what you do? I know there's other things that you're doing, but from that part of working in adult.
Like working with companies?
Yeah.
I think about this often. I don't really know. I would like to be able to work more mainstream. I'd like to just be able to be on set a little bit more, learn a little bit more. Eventually, I'd like to get into some directing, I think. But being who I am and at the point in my life that I'm at, and like the things that I've done, I think it would be really beneficial for me as a person to have like a contract with the company at some point. I just think that the organization, the consistency of like the sets and like what I need to do for that project or for that company, would be really helpful for me just with my life. So I'm hoping that maybe I'm not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily have to be browsers or anything like that, which would be great, but to have like at least one contract for a set amount of time would be really nice. I'd like to experience that.
Okay, now that makes a lot of sense. That it can give you experience. It can give you'll have a familiarity with the company and how they go about their business. And then you can take that experience and then move on to other things. And it could include that company and maybe another one or whatever, depending on what your goals are at that time.
Yeah, I think in general, all around, like having the contract, like you said, I'll have the contacts. I'll be able to like talk to someone about lighting or directing or like being a talent scout or something like that. Which a lot of people, since I am in Virginia, speaking of talent scout, since I am in Virginia, there's a lot of people that I know that are here that ask me like, how do I get in? How do I do this? And I just kind of took the leap to go to the West Coast and start filming. And there's not a lot for us out here. So I would like to be able, like I said, get in with a company and kind of like help expand them to different markets, or just figure out how it all works. It would be nice.
Okay, no, that sounds good. And I guess one other thing with mainstream porn and working with the companies, is there a certain type of pornography that you like doing? I mean, certain types of scenes, like you do fetish things, you just like straight boy girl, you like girl, you like all of it, don't know yet?
I would say I like all of it, but I'm really sensual, and I like to be really like I like very intimate porn. I'm not really into like although I like to watch it. For me personally, I'm not really into like the big like hardcore like scenes where it just looks like everything, it just hurts. But I would do a gangbang if it was very sensual, very like a lot of touching, a lot of like kissing, a lot of just slow moving sex. I like, again, to me that looks like art, and if I can create porn that looks like art, would be great. I love, like I said, love the browser scene, and those are funny, and like they have a little storyline, and it's really cute. But that's the kind of porn I like. Is very like moody. So
Okay, I see a lot of features in your future then.
hopefully.
I see more features, less gonzo.
Yeah, I like, I'd like, that's the kind of stuff that I like to do. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Leah, thank you so much for taking the time. It was great getting a chance to talk with you and get to know you better. And I say this to every guest that I have because I truly mean it. I love it when guests come back. So if there's somewhere down the road and you've been shooting a lot of scenes and doing these things that we were talking about, and you're like, Mark, I'd love to kind of update you on where we're at with things and help promote these other things I got going on. I'd love to have you back. I thought you were awesome.
Okay, I would love to come back. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, have a great, kind of later night over there.
Yeah, we're getting ready to get on cam. So Chatterbait, here we come.
there you go. Well, have a great cam session, and thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.